I hope you all can hear me. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So as Sam introduced, I am an information security / cybersecurity architect. Some more? Yeah. Okay. Is this better? Closer? Okay, I'll try. Okay. I know, we need to close early and we are already at 8:32. So I'll try to make this as quick as possible whilst giving the right message to you. This talk is actually based off two artifacts. One is deliverable, a document that was produced by Alexios Mylonas and Stefano Belloro back in 2018. And then in 2020, we extended the work that was done on the paper to conduct some experiments to prove that whatever fixes were implemented after the first paper was published was indeed implemented. So on to it then. Right. We all know, about web application cookies. Yeah, they help us identify users, improve user experience. But as time passed, the usage of cookies widened. Okay? And then came HTML5. And then along with it came different types of cookies, also known as client-side storage. And that's what we'll focus on. Just as a backup and taking a step back, this talk is largely based off a theoretical research and a little bit on practical research, which I talked about the project that we did in testing. So there are several types of client-side storage. Yeah? One type is the data storage mechanisms on users' machines in the form of text format, which are cookies. And then there are databases on the client-side storage. They are all visible on your browser. So this is a screenshot from Google developers tools, but this is what local storage looks like. This is a session storage. This is an IndexedDB. This is WebSQL. This is a cache along with cookies. From what I understand, WebSQL has been now deprecated. It is no longer used, but if some developers use it, hey, I'm not responsible for it. Okay. And then, so this is what it looks like on user machine. Okay? If you go to your user's first name, last name, app data, Chrome or Firefox, you will see them under those the user data folders. You will have to do a little bit of a digging around. It's under cache, and then you can see the IndexedDB under user data. Now, there are certain attributes of client-side storage which are slightly different from cookies. I call them the well-knowns and the lesser-knowns. So the less known is client-side storage, like IndexedDB, local storage, session storage, and all. They're not very well publicized. The data, unlike cookies, that data which is stored in an IndexedDB doesn't have an expiry date which can be set. So if you don't delete it, it stays on forever. And client-side storage do not have any flags like HTTP only, secure only, HSTS, none. And unlike the 4 KB limitation on cookie storage, client-side storages like IndexedDB can store up to 5 MB in their storage. So that's another difference. And then I know I've been talking a lot about session storage, local storage, and IndexedDB, but there is something called super cookies as well that are used, which is at a root level, not at example.com level, but at .com level, and these are set by ISPs. There is also a variation of this called ever cookies, which, if you all know about the famous security researcher Sami Kamkar, who actually created it. I don't know how much of it is in use currently, but yes, there are different types of cookies. So, and the thing about ever cookie is it responds when it is deleted, because it is not set at the local browser level. So here are some differences between cookies and the databases, the IndexedDB such like. The security aspects of cookies are very well publicized, but with IndexedDB, not so well publicized. They may be, but not many people know about it. And this is in my experience. Then the user is informed of the usage of cookies. There is no IndexedDB policy that is available for client-side databases. Then you can set expiry on cookies, whereas in IndexedDB and such like, data stays forever. Then the flags, some level of security, but IndexedDB such like, they do not have any flags. And then there is the limitation with different limitation on storage. So why are we talking about it? On a day-to-day basis, we visit several websites, and we do not have time to look at the data that is persisted on client-side storage. Hey, have any of you ever gone and looked in IndexedDB as to what data has been stored about you? I don't know. Okay, I'll take a small pause over here. Please raise your hands if you have ever visited the IndexedDB for the site that you have visited. Have you checked what is stored in IndexedDB with local storage, session storage? Okay. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Not many don't. But actually this data may be at risk. So why should we be careful about this level of storage? These storages can persist data like your username and password, credit card data, calendar details, identifiers, byproducts of business processes, and so on. And like any other data, these are vulnerable to cross-site scripting, SQL injection, data corruption, and same origin bypass risks. So these are some of the things that we need to be careful, especially about same origin bypass, policy bypass. I'm sure we all know about it. It's the aspect that has been designed for a particular domain cannot actually access any artifact in another domain. It's as simple as that. You cannot access something that is not from your origin. It's cross origin. You cannot access anything cross origin. So this is what it results into if that risk materializes. The tracking, intrusion, scraping of data, and then the examples of threat actors are you can have malicious pixels, and then you can have malicious extensions and add-ons, and then you can have malicious scripts who are doing this. I just want to take a pause over here and mention that whilst I was doing my research, I do this research quite a bit because I'm very interested in this aspect. I haven't come across any real hard examples in public network which shows how malicious scripts can be used to actually violate the same policy, same domain policy origin, and then actually exploit data. And I'll show you why this is important, because what is present in open vulnerability management databases is not the same as what you see on the public network. So let's talk about the databases first. That is the IndexedDB's local storage, session storage, if possible, WebSQL. So this is why, these are some of the vulnerabilities that are registered in NVD database. And then you can see there are a lot of them which are as recent as 2024. They are not really old vulnerabilities. And there are also some GitHub projects which with POCs that exposing a critical IndexedDB vulnerability that enables disk flooding attack. So why do we really need to be careful of this storage? As I said, there isn't a lot of information on public network. This is the little what I could find. There was a Safari book that could compromise users' browsing history with third-party browsers. Then there is something from Seaside which talks about why browsers are becoming increasingly more dangerous with vulnerability in IndexedDB and such like. Now, I don't know how many of you actually go to vulnerability. It's actually not vulnerabilitydb.com. It is vulndb.com. It's got some really useful and really useful information about different vulnerabilities. And this is very interesting to know. So you can see there are three parts to it. This is the CVE score, and this is the CTI score. And this is what is the cost of an exploit that is available to exploit this vulnerability. So this CTI score, if you notice, it's the same vulnerability which I took at one point in time, and at the next point in time, it has increased to 0.06, and then it has increased to 0.13, indicating an increase in the interest by malicious actors in exploiting this vulnerability. So it's not just for Mozilla Thunderbird that you can see it. There is one for Apple Safari, and there is one for Opera web browser. So all I'm trying to illustrate over here is that when you this by the way, the CTI score is actually calculated by extracting information from various sources like dark web and other viable sources by VULNDB. And it's important to know that some of these vulnerabilities are old. This especially is a 2015 vulnerability, but as you can see, as the day passes, the interest in exploiting or acquiring the kit increases. So these vulnerabilities are not dead, they are still alive. So this is what storage on the application looks like. So this is from an extract from the local storage for a particular application. And then these are some different ones. So if you can see, one of this, I've actually expanded it. It actually captures the IV value as well in IndexedDB. I couldn't capture the whole thing, but it does actually. And then this is another one which actually has a log database value in it. So different types of data is stored in these local storage, session storage, and IndexedDB. And as you can see over here, you can see the server key value as well. Had I had a login ID, if you see number 12, it has a server key value. So, you know, you see all sorts of things. So now, having said that, how are we doing on time, sir? Are we okay? So far I talked about how the vulnerabilities of IndexedDB or session storage are compromised and the information is available. And we talked about how they are stored on the browser. However, this is an exploit for exploiting the same origin policy. So as you can see, the interest increases. And if you notice, the exploit value is really high. It is between 10K and 25K dollars. So, you know, obviously it generates a lot of revenue for whoever is using it. So, okay, then you, okay. So this is all my theoretical research. I haven't done any practical research except one, which I'll come to it. So I just wanted to set your expectations over here. Then the next one is about cookies. Normal cookies, we all know what they are and how we use them and all that. But there is also the super cookies, and super cookies are something which are very difficult to delete, and those are what are used in tracking. And these were actually, there's a lot of information about super cookies, flash cookies, ever cookies, over cookies, a lot of those things. However, if you can see, there is quite a bit of interest generated in super cookie project as well in GitHub. And then there have been crackdowns on companies that have used super cookies for tracking. But having said that, I really don't have any actual exploits in one VULNDB database as I have for IndexedDB. So how can we really address them? Because they are all like, you know, ever present. Though browser companies or authorities do try to crack down on these, it's not really as very simple. But as users, we can definitely, you know, address them. So we can actually make sure that we do not use any browsers we don't know much about. You know, as simple as that, yeah. Because Apple updated its browsers to prevent the use of super cookies. Google fixed it, but Microsoft fixed it. But still, you know, like something like that you don't know about, why use them? And then use private incognito mode for bank apps. Use browser isolation, use secure extensions. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the Great Suspender extension. It started out as a very useful extension in determining the performance of Chrome, but then it was acquired and then it turned into a spyware. So, you know, it's good to be aware of these things when we are using extensions. And of course, there is always the good old security control of deleting your browser side data. Now, I just want to bring up this video. This is what is about storing data in IndexedDB in normal mode and in incognito mode. So you will see the difference. When you use in normal mode, the data persists, and we will see this data on a different browser. But if you use this in an incognito mode, sorry, the video took a bit of a time till I typed values. So in incognito mode, the value is retained. But if you move out of incognito mode, that value is not retained. And this was actually what was fixed after Alexios Mylonas and Stefano Bolero wrote their paper about what I did last summer and approached the relevant people to fix that, because otherwise they were actually still being retained on the client-side storage after they were, in spite of using incognito mode. So this is my end message. I know it's not much, but hey, a little bit of a carefulness goes a long way. Do not use browsers that you don't know much about. Use a private incognito mode and clear your client-side storage regularly. And then for developers, I think this is an important message. Don't use client-side storage for persisting sensitive data. Do anything else, but don't use them. It's helpful to the end users. Developers may not be impacted by it, but people like you and me who are using that application will be impacted. So as I said, this was actually tested. The browsers not clearing data on the client-side storage, and we tested these on the following browsers using browser stack, and we didn't find any evidence of the data being persisted. If you are interested in client-side storage, this is something we started out, but we never documented the project. So these are some of the things that you can look at in carrying out as a project and arriving at controls, security controls for addressing them. That is all I have got. If you have any questions, I can take them.